glasses perched up on her face. She got her hair tied up in braids.
All right, so I know, Jerma is retired. He's basically dead. Nobody cares about him anymore. Everyone's forgotten, certainly, about this clip. But I haven't forgotten about it. In fact, I have not been able to sleep most nights because I know that there are people out there who still consider this clip to be one of Jerma's worst voice cracks ever. I mean, given his reaction, even Jerma himself was pretty taken aback by it, but I don't think it's his worst voice crack ever. In fact, I don't consider it a voice crack at all. If anything, this moment only serves to further evince Jerma's continually underappreciated musical genius. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why. To begin, sadly, we must depart from Jerma's and foray into the terrible, poison swamp that is refers to a single key on the piano. This one happens to be D flat or C sharp. This one's C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So this is C. We go up half step. It's called C sharp or D flat. Now if we make what's called a scale, which is a linear collection of pitches in ascending or descending order, we can create what's called the D flat major scale, which sounds something like this. So there you have the D flat major scale. Now, what if we were to create something called chords, which are a simultaneous collection of pitches arranged thusly? So what I'm doing is I'm just skipping one note in the scale. 1, 2, 3. Now, musicologists who happen to be composers who can never become professional composers and instead decided to create rather obtuse classifications and categorizations of things, they have names for each of the chords that you can create in a given scale. And since all the letter names like C, D, E, F, G, and so on are already taken up, they classify these chords by numbers. And the number refers to the place in the scale where the chord begins or where the starting pitch is. So for example, let's go through the scale and just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, but really just back to 1. So if we create chords then, that would be a 1 chord because it starts on the first pitch in the scale. Now if we go over to the second pitch, we could create another chord which would be called a 2 chord. We could then do this for the third scale degree, a 3 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4 chord, 5, a 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6 chord, a 7 chord, and finally a 1 chord. So we have 7 chords with which to work to create something called harmonization. Harmonization is simply adding harmony to what might just be a basic melody. So I can make any melody that I want, maybe something like this. And I could create harmony for that melody by adding chords, just like this. Very simple. So let's categorize now, just like any bad musicologist would, what those chords are. Well, obviously this is a 1 chord. So 1. This chord, it may surprise you, I'm still playing a 1 in my left pinky, but in fact it is a 4 chord. Because if I just rearrange the notes thusly, the base of the chord is the 4th scale degree. 1, But because the 4 scale degree, the tonic of the note, is not in the bass, it's called an inversion. It's inverted. It's on top of itself. But pianists do that for the sake of playability. But fundamentally, the harmony is the same. So we have a 1 chord, a 4 chord. Now this is a 5 chord. Again, in an inversion, because here's 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the harmony, but if we just move this down, move it down again, we have an inversion of the 5 chord, which is more comfortable to play. So the harmonization sounds like this. 1, 4, 5, 1. And with the melody, it sounds like this. 1, 4, 5, 1. Pretty simple. We have a 1, 4, 5, 1 chord progression. Now, this is what you Jermamites have all been waiting for. Suppose we took a note which was not in our scale, this note. And suppose then that we added that note to the 1 chord. And let's add that note into our little chord progression and melody here. So it might sound something like this with the rhythm changed just a bit. And one more time, just so you really get it. And see what this extra note, what that note does, is it creates a sort of special sauce.
Who made the first sauce?
For the harmonic progression. So instead of just having this, we have an extra chord in there. And this extra chord, get this, guys, it's got a bullshit musicological description just like everything else. It's called a secondary dominant. Don't worry about what the hell that means. I honestly don't know either. But the point is, what it does is it takes a note outside of the scale, this note, outside of the scale, and it creates a sort of harmonic tension. Listen with your ears. Don't use your mind. A musicologist will do everything to confuse you, but they can never confuse your ear because your ear is always the greatest guide. Listen. It creates a sort of tension that wants to go here. A relaxation. Again. And then that has a tendency to go here and then back to here. So this note creates a tension in our harmonic progression. Now, let's examine the phrase that Jerma tries to sing in the clip that you just saw. Well, it goes something like this. Here's the melody.
Got her hair tied up in braids.
Very simple. And the way they harmonize it is with chords that we've already seen. It's just like this. And we've already seen those chords. It's just a 1 chord and a 4 chord in an inversion. Now that's a simplified harmonization, but for all intents and purposes, that's what they're doing. But that's not what Jerma sings, is it?
No.
He sings this.
She's got her hair tied up in braids.
Now, is that a voice crack?
No!
Because let's see what our harmonization does when we add that note to it. do that again. What just happened? Now what just happened was we added that secondary dominant to go to the next harmony. So, is Jerma having a terrible voice crack at that moment?
No.
He is in fact, and here's the bullshit musicological description of it, he is using a secondary dominant leading tone to go to the subdominant, which is where, by the way, the progression is already going. Because remember, here's the original progression. There's the original progression. Here's Jerma's progression. So he doesn't even change the direction of the overall harmonic progression. He just adds a spice chord in between it. Now that, my friends, is musical genius. And if it isn't, I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you what it's not. It is not.